which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kick off roll call there, Randy.
I'm sorry?
Kick off roll call.
Evans here. Fox is here.
Abbott here.
Executive Director Roger present.
Okay. And look for a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay. We have some public
Call
comments.
the question. Vote.
Say, do we?
Matt, well, question on the.
Yeah, right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I'm looking for the Senate.
Oh, very good, sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right, Janine Duffy, you're first up.
Janine Duffy,
Go ahead.
Janine Duffy, 5550 Front Drive, Holiday, Florida, 34690.
And before you get started, I just want to read off our message that you read, I'm sure, today. Members of the public are welcome to address the BOC on any items, direct or related business. Speakers are allocated 3 minutes. All speakers identify themselves before speaking, as you have. And remarks will be directed to the board as a whole, not individual members. Any disruptive behavior, personal attacks will be prohibited. So it's your time. Go ahead, Jenny.
I worked all day, so I think you uploaded the proposed budget this morning. So I haven't had time to look at it, in which I would really like to have this meeting extended to another date so that we have time to look at that. I have a couple people also that let me know that what you're doing is actually wrong. Florida statute states Florida statute 189.0164 provides the public ample time to review public budgets before tentative budget hearings. Failure to provide such notice violates state law. The Attorney General Office is charged with upholding these laws. Members of the legislature could also intervene, and the public could request an injunction from the court to force a re-advertising and rescheduling of this budget hearing to be in compliance, which is what I'm asking for. Florida statute 189.016 very clearly states the tentative budget must be proposed on the special district's office website at least 2 days before the budget hearing, held pursuant to section 200.065 or other law to consider such budget, and must remain on the website for at least 45 days. They are clearly in violation of Florida law. So does this mean they can't consider the budget since they haven't posted it as legally required? Will this lead to another violation letter from the Department of Revenue to add to all the other 3 received? Is the director not aware of the statute, or is she just choosing to ignore it? Do the commissioners care, or is this just another thing you will sweep under the rug? How much longer do the residents need to put up with this incompetence? Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Julie, it's your time.
Kathy Julie, 16034 US Highway 19 Hudson. Okay, so I found something out that I'm addressing to the board. Following the state law against golden parachutes in employment contracts of employees of the state or special districts, state law specifies that no more than 20 weeks severance pay can be authorized. The current contract you have for your executive director calls for 8 months. That's against state law. I also question whether it's legal to have her accruing additional PTO at a higher rate than she would be entitled to under your normal policies. That's favoritism, and state law also doesn't really like favoritism. And then somebody else pointed out to me that the district is contributing 5% of the director's salary into a deferred compensation plan, and none of that is being offered to the other employees. That's also another thing where you are giving one employee benefits that the others don't have. So in conjunction with doing your budget this year, you guys need to rectify this contract because there are illegal clauses in it. Last year, I also finally got the text messages this week verifying what I had been told a while ago, that the employees were given raises by the director without board approval. It appears that performance reviews were not completed appropriately in a timely fashion. I'm wondering if this pattern will continue this year, or will the board actually approve the raises? The non-posting of the budget on a timely manner is also an issue, and the other thing is there's two versions, so it's like not just one budget to go through, there's two to figure out what the differences are, so that's quite a bit. And then the other thing is that I noticed, it's kind of funny to me, but you know, Gary and I were friends, and I was looking at your Ohio report, and you took a rollback on your trim rate, or your, I can't remember what the name of it is, but the taxing rate, you took a rollback on that, and then you've held it steady, and you're not taking the rollback anymore. You know, the taxpayers don't need to be paying more taxes in this county. I know my personal amount of money that goes towards Mosquito went up by 4%, and that's crazy. Taxes should not be going up like this. We have all this new tax base. The residents that have lived here for a long time shouldn't be getting more taxation. That's it.
Thank you. Once again, this is a public hearing. This time the board has not finalized the consensus budget. There's some information on your desk there. So we're going to be presented with two budget options today that are currently under consideration. Both options have been posted to the district website for public review and consultation with Department of Revenue and District Council. We'll take an adjusted approach to ensure full compliance with trim requirements and transparency for all taxpayers. I want to note clearly the record that this process is fully consistent with Florida law. It's been guided by the Florida Department of Revenue and District Council. Following this approach, we're ensuring the district remains in compliance with trim while giving the board opportunity to carefully review the two budget options and make the most fiscally responsible decision for our community. Because the board's still in the process of this discussion, has not yet selected a tentative budget, we will not be voting tonight on a tentative millage rate nor a tentative budget. Instead, the board will recess this hearing after any necessary discussion and reconvene for a continuation of the tentative budget hearing on September the 15th at 5:01 p.m. right here at the same office. The reconvened meeting will be properly noticed in newspapers required by Florida law, and the board's selected budget option will continue to be available on the district's website. Once the board adopts a tentative millage rate and the tentative budget on September 15th, we will proceed to hold the final budget hearing on September the 29th at 5:01 p.m. So the two options that we have in front of us this evening is option one, that's the rollback rate, which puts the millage, it changes the millage to 0.2128, and the second option is a millage reduction beyond the rollback to 0.2091, which is 6.7% reduction below the district's current rate. So at this time, we'll go ahead and discuss the budget options, and we'll need a consensus on which option the board wishes to move forward with tonight. This approach will allow us to continue moving forward to finalize the budget appropriately while ensuring the taxpayers of Pasco County are presented with a clear and finalized tentative budget action before any action is taken, or this clearly this will go to a vote the next meeting. So I would like to kick off the discussion on the options. Would you like to take it from here and start it?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. As Commissioner Abbott That's really the bulk of the difference. Yep, we can go individually by line item if you would like to do that, or we can just focus on the bulk of it, which is the chemicals, yes.
That's all I really care about.
Okay. So we are looking at category 50.52.0. Would be on your first page of the packet of each one.
So at our last meeting, you were, talking about doing a little bit of a different type of treatment program that was, well, let me back up. Is what you're proposing this alternative, that treatment program?
It is, yes. In both options, we can achieve what we discussed at the last board meeting, yes.
But there were some negatives with using a different treatment program than what was in the rollback rate.
So the residual products offer longer effectiveness, however, they're more expensive in terms of the actual product costs themselves. And so with the initial exercise of reducing the budget, we, the first, excuse me, let me back up. The first draft of the budget had more funds for the residual products, because that's how we've transitioned over the last few years, relying more on products with a longer effectiveness, and so that we have more time to treat new sites, and we don't have to continuously go back to the same treatment site every 3 to 5 days, potentially, if we need it. And so, when we were tasked with reducing such a drastic reduction to the first draft of the budget, we modified the approach there because of the overall product cost. Now, moving back to single-use, single-brew products, that we refer to them as, they're cheaper product costs, but you have more operational costs, because now you're treating the same product potentially every 3 to 5 days if necessary. And so you're not getting as effective, as widespread coverage as you are in the approach that we have been operating with over the last year plus, and allowing us to look at additional treatment sites. And so the reduction that we did, that we presented to the board last month reflected a reversion to what we had been doing that was very beneficial for us, but it saved more money that you were looking for. And so after the discussion at our last board meeting, we went back to the original methodology and were able to make reductions elsewhere so that we could comfortably have that money back in the budget, so that we are moving forward with more residual product.
So what's in front of us, are you changing the way that?
In a good way, back to how we've been operating the last year plus.
Okay, so neither one of these options is going to affect the operation and efficacy of the treatments?
Correct. The biggest
Okay.
difference is the amount of money we're putting towards it. So, the rollback rate has, or a much more comfortable level of product for the next fiscal year. The beyond rollback rate has slightly less. But if we continue with how we have operated this current fiscal year, if we do exceed that budget for our chemicals, we always have the contingency funds so that we can draw from there.
So we're not shooting
So
ourselves in the foot.
I'm comfortable
Okay.
operationally with the reduced rate, knowing that it's very possible if we have another active year in terms of multiple hurricanes and disease, then we'll take it out of contingency.
I thought at the last meeting, there was consensus,
ago, you all tentatively approved or preliminarily approved the rollback rate, and at the last meeting, what the discussion was, at least two of you wanted to see beyond rollback. There was not an actual vote to do that, but that's how we approached the guidance that we were given at our last board meeting in August.
Well, I mean, I, for one, appreciate you going back and looking at it so you can cut it further, but, I mean, what should have been posted was the rollback budget, so that we could actually have made a decision today instead of having to schedule another meeting, which I'm not too pleased about, so. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but we had such a lengthy meeting last time that we never did get to a motion or a vote on it. So, fortunately, it was double checked, even though I know in past years, I thought that was the case too. So I'm glad it was double checked this time. Tell me about the, like, you know, a couple's meetings ago, we were talking about some, one or two new positions. Where did, I'm looking at this and I think I can see where did we land with that? Did we, what's been removed?
The administrative position has been removed.
Okay.
And that is on the first page of the expenditure items, under category 10.12.2.
Okay. So
In
for,
both options.
so for mosquito control tech ones,
We will have the same number that we have this current fiscal year.
okay, good. All right. And then, this is consistent with what we talked about last meeting, that all trucks, vehicles, for the next year, there will be no purchases, correct?
That's correct. We'll have to defer those until the following fiscal year.
Okay. How many hybrids do we currently have? Approximately? Four. Okay.
No. Wait, is that, I think there's five. There's five, yep.
Andy, you're awful quiet over there. What do you have to say today?
I just want the assurance that if we go beyond the rollback, I understand we have to take it out of contingency if we have another bad year, like we did last year. That it's not gonna hurt us, that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot by doing it. I understand the contingency fund is there for a reason. I just really hope we won't have to dip into it. Cause with all the property and all this going on, I really don't wanna shoot ourselves in the foot. And I don't wanna shoot the great efforts you're trying to do to keep us safe with all the chemicals, if we're reducing it that much that, pardon me, you can't effectively do your job. I wanna make sure you have the tools you need to do the job right.
Well, at least there's consensus on that, so thank you, Randy. With what's being presented, with the further reduction beyond rollback, I'm comfortable in moving forward with that one and taking it out of contingency. That's what it's for, so I am comfortable with that approach, yes.
I trust you, so I'm going with your recommendation.
I appreciate that, but, you know, we follow the guidance of the board,
Right.
so
Yep.
that's why we're taking this approach, and happy to answer any questions that you have.
Well, are you looking for a motion, sir?
Well, in just a moment, I'm just gonna make sure that, Mr. Cox is, opportunity to speak more, if you'd like to. Good, okay. Entertain-
We don't need a motion, right, we're not officially voting on anything tonight, but I
Right.
do need a consensus, so that
Okay.
we can
I'm all for
appropriately
option two.
move forward with whichever option.
I'm also for option 2.
It's a trifecta.
Okay, appreciate all the work Jose and the rest of you put into this over the last couple months. It's like we all feel confident that we'll be able to provide the good service that we have been for years to our customers. Okay. Well, at this point, I will call for a recess, and we'll have a continuation of this hearing on September the 15th at 5:01 p.m. So, hope to see you all then. Thank you.